Hello, everyone. Um, I had a revelation, as we often do in a moment of peace and time to reflect. I assume you all know what I mean, because we've all done that from time to time. Um, I recently confided in someone whose opinion I trust very much. And by the way, I do these things in the dark because I don't want you to focus on anything else. No background, no microphone, no equipment. Uh, there are other times for that sort of presentation, but after consulting a person whose opinion I have a lot of faith and trust in, and a few moments of reflection. Like, this person essentially believes we are screwed regardless of whoever wins in 2024. America's been damaged beyond effectual repair. Now, I want you to understand something, and you already know this. I am not wired to think like that, but he has become nihilistic, essentially raised the black flag. Uh, but it's just never been possible for me to think like that. However, I do have to consider, just because of my trust in him. Again, I am not wired to think that way, but if I am to always be honest with myself and with you, I have to explore every possible reality. And for me, my worldview begins with the premise that a dead man walked out of a tomb alive for my soul. My life is not my own, and I am bought at a very high price. I, in the past 5 years, have nearly died. I've lost about 15% of the hearing in my right ear and about 10% in my left ear. Uh, my left knee is collapsing. And for me, these are all constant reminders that the clock is ticking here, folks. And there is no long term guarantee for any of us. No one. For of tomorrow, the future, what we have, as Paul said in the Bible, is is to redeem the time. What we have is right here, right now. That is what we have to redeem. And that is the quandary that we are in. We are on the brink of nuclear war. I believe it is almost inevitable. I don't believe that they'll ever let Trump win. If they cannot put him in prison, they will kill him. As far as having answers, I just do not have them anymore. I used to think that, and this has come along with the death of people who I followed all my life and influences, and now I feel like I am in their shoes, at least symbolically. But if we do not fix things of this quandary that we are in, our children and or I don't have any children, but I know many of you do. But the children and grandchildren of this generation will not forgive us if we are not careful with the choices that we make. I'm afraid that sometime in the next year, we are going to be facing war with Russia. I think we are going to be the closest to the brink of nuclear war that this world has ever arrived to. And there's been no change, essentially, no change. Maybe change in what we thought we had promise for, but there has been no change. So at some point, we have to consider that we're the ones that have to change. The system isn't going to change the people. The people are going to have to change the system. So we need to be very careful. We need to live in the daily obedience of God and to constantly pray for answers. In every step we take forward, we need to constantly give that childlike faith to the man upstairs of how how do we go about our next move. It's a very dangerous world. It's a very dangerous time. It's a very dangerous time for the future of your children, for your family, for your elders, your mothers, your fathers, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your neighbors. This is red alert. And we can ill afford to just say, well, we'll pass it off to another generation. We are that generation that stands on, that only stands the chance of changing in hopes for the future. In my lifetime, and those of you about my age, late 40s or older, uh, I think that's the best card that we've got to play. And I'm seriously uh, tried to look for other answers, but I just don't know what there are. It's not about giving up or giving in, but just understanding that a new path, a new course has to be taken, and we will only get there by the God. Excuse me. We will only get there by the guidance of God Almighty, by His grace, to protect us from starvation, to protect us from nuclear annihilation, to protect us from the greatest threats that are among us. And right now, the best thing that we can do is to pray for peace, to pray for stability, to pray for the elements to at least become endurable, to at least become bearable, and to guide us to the path. Now, no matter how difficult, no matter how broken, no matter how barricaded or blocked our path is, we've got to find that. And so I just wanted to give you the message that now is not the time to lay it all down and, as I said, pass it off to the future. We have got to be innovators in our time. It is going to take the type knowledge, wisdom, and guidance and faith in God that our forefathers had when they formed this country. It's going to be a daunting challenge. And I, like you, am riddled with doubt that we'll get there. But if we do so, it will be only by the grace and the will of God Almighty. I pray for all of you. I pray for your families. And I hope you will think about this message over the next year as we enter an election year, facing all these complicated, divisive components that and components or elements of what we of the quandary that I mentioned that we are living in. So as Paul said, redeem the time, for you may never get another chance. Redeem this time, not for just yourself, not for, but for the world, for your children, for stability, for the sake of peace. We have got to put all our eggs in one basket, and that is to ask God above, to pray God above, that we somehow survive it. We'll see you next time.